Hey there, welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So this is actually take two since I got down and forgot to plug my computer in and ran out of time and lost the video. That's happened on occasion. Anyways, I was just getting to the good part too. So anyways, we're going to go back to it. So this episode is called This Week. It comes out every week on Sunday afternoon around noon. I try to make it for noon. And it includes all the stuff that's going on in the channel for the week, plus anything upcoming, maybe discussion about new shows I'm going to be doing, some discussion about maybe one-offs that I'm doing and that kind of stuff. And my face is red from the sun today. Yeah, so the sun has been making some appearances here, which is good. It's been kind of like a government employee showing up to work once a week. But at any rate, that's where we are. So this episode is for this week is episode number 44, released May. So it'll be covering the periods of May 14th to May the 20th for the regular weekly shows. Okay, so the first show that we normally do, other than this one, will come out tonight at 8 o'clock, called Ben's Album Challenge. So Ben has been on a bit of a roll lately, quite a bit of pretty solid stuff. Lots of somewhat obscure stuff, not stuff that I've known about or heard about, or it's not stuff I can easily find or buy, but I can listen to it. And this particular one he's chosen is called Zabulon, their self-titled 1980 album. I don't know anything about this. I didn't even actually listen to any of it at all. It looks like it's probably progressive rock, but I haven't really looked at it. So that will be coming out tonight around 8. Okay, the next episode comes out on Monday night, which is my look back at a classic rock album. This week I've chosen an album that had to be done. It's been on my album charts it's been in my playlist for about 5 months now. Probably been number one for about a month and a half at least. And right now it's my favorite album, and that's Gentle Giant's Freehand. And I think part of the reason this album has become so popular with me so quickly is because I did a video, Friday Night Live Experience video in the fall on a live concert by them, and a lot of the material that they played in that concert came from this album. So yeah, just really good. I'm looking forward to doing this album. And for you Gentle Giant fans out there, and I know there's a lot of you, another chance to talk about one of the great bands. This band is destined to make my group one day. Maybe it'll be the group of 9, maybe a group of 10. There's 2 or 3 bands that are going to almost certainly make that and expand my group from 8, which they've been now for about a year. Before that they were a group of 7 for about maybe a decade, but things are changing quickly. Okay, so the next video out is my Wednesday night favorites. This tends to be the most popular show that I do weekly. A lot of people really like this, and I think part of the reason they like it is that I don't just play the same type of thing every week. I try to mix it up, so I'll have a top 25 favorites, or a top 10 favorites, or maybe a top 15 favorites, or maybe I'll do a 10 bands that are like this or like that, or maybe I'll do a ranking or a top 10 songs. I try to mix it up so it's not always the same and it's a little bit interesting. For this week I'm doing and I've been changing my mind while I'm sitting here, and I did the first video, I brought it up, and this time I'm sure this was going to happen. So I was going to do a top 25 favorite albums covers, or the artwork on the album covers for all bands, but I think I'm going to break this into 3 because there's a lot of really good album covers. So I think I'm going to break it into 3. I think I'll do a top this first week will be the top 25 favorite progressive rock album covers, and then I'm probably going to do a hard rock one, and I'll probably do a heavy metal one. I may actually do a pop one as well, but I'll space these out so that you won't get them every week. There's still one more top favorite bands for a country that I want to do, and that's Australia. I'm still thinking about who I want to put in that list. I want to make sure I do this one good. I was hoping to do a top 25 Australian bands. I don't know if I'll have quite enough, so I'm trying to wait to make sure that I don't have enough before I decide to do one. So there's a few of those type of things I'm going to do. I did a part 2 of bands, like recently did this part 2 of 10 bands that should have been bigger than they are. That seems to have gone over well, so there's an A and B part. I'm thinking of doing a second part for the, in fact I know that this is going to happen, it's going to be a second part for 10 more essential albums that every maybe sophomore version of a prog person that's getting into progressive rock, so they get the first 10, and then where do we go from here? Well, I'm going to give another kind of 10 more albums that you might want to consider. So I'm going to do something like that at some point in the future too. And Ben has been giving me a lot of video types, things that he thinks are good too. Some of the ideas are quite good. Some of them not necessarily bad, but I have a certain type of personality, and some of them just don't sit with me well. So I may or may not use them, or I may or may not do them in some form or another. But he always has great ideas, and so I listen carefully to what he says. So anyways, the last show of the week this week will be the Psychedelic Snack, which comes out every second week and is offset by the live experience. So I'm doing those as kind of 1 week, and then the next week we do the live one. So this week it's a Psychedelic Snack. Brother Murph has chosen to do the Doors. This particular album is the one he wants to do, but I suspect he'll talk a lot about the Doors during that video that he's going to do, and I hope you guys will give him his support like you give me. So that's it for the weekly shows. Now there are some one-offs. I did a one-off this week. It was kind of a one I'd been thinking about for a while, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I did one for, it's a Rush video. Some of you have maybe seen it. It's a Caress of Steel 2112. And it's done very well. A lot of people seem to like it, or are interested in it. And so I'm thinking of doing another one. I have another one in mind, so I may do that this week, or I may leave it for another week. I've got 4 what's new videos to do. I mean, I've been putting these off and off just because in order to do them, you got to sit down and really listen, and I haven't had that much time lately. But I really would like to get all of these done before I go on my holiday. So I'm probably going to do one after this video as well. So what else is coming up? Well, we do have the 2 new shows that I'm still kind of ironing out how I want to do them. One will be called Metal, and they're going to alternate with each other, and I believe it'll be on a Thursday night. So you'll have 1 week you'll have the show called Metal, and the next week you'll have the show called Forward Champion. A Forward Champion is going to be, for some of you may have already heard this, so if you don't want to listen anymore, that's fine. It's basically I'm going to choose 2 albums, talk about them for a bit on the episode, and then the viewers will have 2 weeks worth of time to put in their vote in the comments, which album they like better, which album they think would be a good Forward Champion. And then the winner will, on the day of the next video, will be whoever has the most votes, and that person will face a new challenger who I will pick. And if he gets 5 championships, like if he wins 5 rounds, he'll retire into and at the end of the year, however many I have for that, we'll do a like a video on the ones that made the 5, and you can all vote on which one you think is the best of those 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or however many it is. Anyways, I hope that that is a good explanation of that. And then for the metal one is pretty straightforward. I'm going to choose one metal band for the episode and talk about their discography, mostly about their studio discography, but I may, if there's some live albums in there that I get a chance to listen to, I may bring those up, talk about the band's kind of personnel, if they, the guys who are kind of making these things happen, a little bit about their music. But it won't be lengthy. It's not going to be a lengthy thing. It'll just be me discussing whether I like this album or don't like this album, what I like, what I don't like about it. It'll just be like a pretty brief explanation of it, but we're going to do that for the metal. And I'm going to alternate. So the first episode will be on a band that's come out in the last 10 years. And then after that, the next one will be on an older band from 10 years or greater. So it could go back all the way to the 70s, right? Anyways, that's my thoughts on that. And the reason I chose to do that is because I've been growing a little bit more interested in doing more metal, and this seems to be a way to get me to listen to it. And the thing is to motivate me to do this. I need to do something and motivate me to do that. And it's all a learning curve, right? So those are the two shows that are likely going to come out, and of course we'll have, towards the end of the month, we will have the second episode of the AC/DC, I guess you might want to call it, tribute to their 50th anniversary, if that's what you want to call it, for a fabulous band. So we'll be doing the second half, which will be on the Brian Johnson era. And then we're going to do in either June, probably in June, I think in June, I will do one video and one video only on Kiss. I did decide that I'm going to give them their due, but it'll probably be mostly about their 70s stuff, because that's the era that I grew up in. That's my favorite era. That's the era that launched rock music for me. And no matter how my personal feelings go about some of them shenanigans that these guys do, they definitely deserve to be notified. At one point, they're one of the most dominating bands in history, so they need to be talked about. Okay, so that's it. There isn't anything else much to say. I hope you'll come out and watch some of my videos this week, and I look forward to any of your comments. People make some really good comments and bring up things that I didn't think of, and sometimes they put me on the spot, which I don't always like. However, you got to learn these things, and sometimes people challenge you on stuff makes you learn it. I'm not above making mistakes. I'm not above knowing everything, because I don't. This is just a hobby that I like and stuff that I like. I'm not a rock concert goer tour. I don't do any of those type of things. I just listen to music a lot. I watch a lot of videos. I read books, that kind of thing. So it's nice to get it from the horse's mouth, but sometimes people know just as much as you do. And there's people out there watching this that know more than I do. So always good to try and answer their questions or tell them what I think or what I don't think, or be corrected on something I'm thinking wrongly, Anyways, that's good. So here we go. I hope you have a good evening. Please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we'll be back next Sunday with another This Week episode. So take care. Bye.